Hello students, myself Bafna ma'am. Today we will be continuing the terms of trade. We have taken in last class about the meaning and importance of the term of trade and types of term of trade. We have taken gross barter term of trade, net barter term of trade, and today we will be taking income term of trade. Okay, so what is the income term of trade? And we will discuss about single factorial terms of trade, double factorial terms of trade, and what are the factors affecting terms of trade. Okay, so we will continue with this video. Income terms of trade. So this concept was a refinement over net barter terms of trade, NBTT, and was presented by G.S. Dorrance. सो ये कंसेप्ट है रिफाइनमेंट है जो नेट बार्टर टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड का रिफाइनमेंट है, उसको और रिफाइन करके और अच्छे से लिखा है एंड प्रेजेंटेड बाय G.S. डोरेंस ने लिखा है. सो इनकम टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड में बी डिफाइंड एज द इंडेक्स ऑफ द वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट. ओके, वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट उसके इंडेक्स है डिवाइडेड बाय द प्राइस फॉर इंपोर्ट. उसको डिवाइड किया है, प्राइस को डिवाइड किया है फॉर इंपोर्ट्स. ओके, वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट डिवाइडेड बाय इंपोर्ट. ओके, सिंपल वे. अगेन आई विल रीड द इंडेक्स ऑफ द वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट डिवाइडेड बाय द प्राइस इंडेक्स फॉर इंपोर्ट्स. अभी एक्स का सिंबल दिया है यहाँ पे. ओके, वी विल सी दैट सिंबल हियर. TY इज इक्वल टू PX into QX divided by PM, or TY is equal to TC as TC is equal to PX divided by PM. So it is very necessary to write this symbol in exam. Okay. So income terms of trade are also referred to a country's capacity to import. In the long run, the total value of exports of a country must equal to its total value of imports. That is, PX into QX is equal to PM into QM, or PX into QX divided by PM is equal to QM. So, thus, PX into QX divided by PM determines QM. That is total volume that a country can import. Okay, here what is the total volume that country can import? See, okay, sorry. Here, the other things being same, the capacity to import. See, other things, if they are constant, if they are same, the capacity to import of a country can increase either by the change in the following factor. Capacity to import of a country can increase either by the change in the following factor. See, what are the changes? The rise in the price of export, the fall in the price of import, the rise in the volume of its export. So, the price of export PX, price of import PM, volume of its export QX. Volume yani sense quantity of export QX. Okay. The income terms of trade takes into account the volume of export of a country. So, the income terms of trade takes into account the volume of export यानी quantity of export of a country and its import. Export कितना है, import कितना है, वो that is being taken into account, and import price यानी the net barter terms of trade. Okay. See, in the last class we had discussed about net barter terms of trade. It discussed about the price. Okay, and after that we had discussed about gross barter terms of trade. So that concept was about quantity. And income tax terms of trade, it is between price and quantity also, both price and quantity. Okay, so there is a discussion of price and quantity also. So in with it, we'll read here. With 1970 as a base year, and if in 1980 px is equal to px यानी price export is 140 and price import is 70 and quantity export is 80, then ty in sense income terms of trade is equal to 140 into 80. Here it has been written 140 into 80 divided by 70 is equal to 160, showing an improvement by 60% in income terms of trade in 1980 compared to base year 1970. ओके, बेस ईयर पिछले साल 1970 और कंपेयर किया 1980 में, तो 60% का इनकम था टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड में. ऑन अदर हैंड, इफ इन 1980, अगर 1980 में एक्सपोर्ट 80 होता, प्राइस एक्सपोर्ट 80 होता, प्राइस इंपोर्ट 160 होता एंड क्वांटिटी एक्सपोर्ट 120 होता, देन टी वाई इज इक्वल टू यानी income terms of trade is equal to 80 into 120 by 160 is equal to 60, showing deterioration by 40%. यानी खराब है terms of trade, deterioration यानी गिरावट है. So there is a deterioration by 40% in income terms of trade in 1980. Okay, when compared to base year period 1970. तो यहाँ पे दो कंपैरिजन बताया है 1980 और 1970 का. 1980 में दो कंपैरिजन बताया 60% एंड 40%. ओके, सो 1980 when compared to base year 1970, a rise in the income terms of trade index means that a country can import. See, country can import, okay, more goods in exchange for its export. Okay, here the country can import more goods in exchange for its import. Next point है, even when its income term of trade index may improve. Here they are telling index may improve, its commodity terms of trade or NBTT may deteriorate. Again, listen here. Even when its income term of trade index may improve, its commodity terms of trade or NBTT may deteriorate. How? Here, for example, keeping import prices to be constant. If the import prices are constant, यानी same है, and export prices falls. अभी एक्सपोर्ट प्राइजेस फॉल हो रहा है, देयर विल बी एन इंक्रीज इन द सेल एंड वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट. सी, देयर इज ए इंक्रीज इन द सेल एंड वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट, देयर विल बी इंक्रीज इन द सेल एंड वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट. दस while the income terms of trade may have improved, NBTT may have deteriorate. So net barter that may have deteriorate. एक्सपोर्ट प्राइस फॉल हुआ है लेकिन सेल और वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट है वहाँ पे, तो इनकम टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड इम्प्रूव हुआ है लेकिन नेट बार्टर वो डिटेरियोरेट हो गया है यहाँ पे. ओके, नाउ व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस हियर, विल सी. द कंसेप्ट इज ऑफ स्पेशल इम्पोर्टेंस to less developing countries. See, this concept is of special importance to less developing countries in view of their increasing imports. ये कंसेप्ट स्पेशल इंपॉर्टेंस दिया गया लेस डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को, क्योंकि इंपोर्ट्स इंक्रीज ज़्यादा है वहाँ पे. इट ऑल्सो हाईलाइट्स द प्रॉब्लम्स फेस्ड बाय डेवलपिंग एंड अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज विथ द रेस्पेक्ट टू द क्वांटिटीज ऑफ इंपोर्ट्स. ओके, they can make considering the low price of their export and low export earning. So they are highlighting the problem. What are the problem faced by developed and undeveloped countries with the respect of the quantities of import and the low price of their export and low export earnings. तो export earnings में low है, उनकी earnings low है, कम है, तो highlight किया problem. In most cases, these countries have no control over export prices, and this reduces their capacity to import goods and services. Okay? Again, I will read. In most cases, these countries have no control over export prices, and this reduces their capacity to import goods and services. So, here the significance, and we will see the limitation criticism. Incomplete concept of NBTT. So, as the index of income terms of trade is based on commodity, see, income is based on commodity terms of trade, it leads to conflicting results. So, there is a conflicting results. Results are conflict. Thus, the concept of NBTT is usually preferred for measuring the gains from international trade. The concept NBTT क्या है? Measuring the gains. International trade में measure करना gains कितना हुआ है. Second point here is not a good measure. Some critics have told about income terms of trade, some criticism, some limitations are there. So this concept is about price and quantity. So incomplete, first they told incomplete concept of NBTT. Next, not a good measure. The index of income terms of trade fails to measure exactly the gain or loss from external trade. Okay, see, the index of income, they have failed to measure, failure हो गया measure exactly what is the gain and what is the loss from external trade. When the capacity to import of a country increases, it means that it also exporting more than before. Again, I will read here. When the capacity to import of a country increases, it means that it also exporting more than before. अगर capacity increase हो गई import की, तो मतलब exporting पहले से भी ज़्यादा है. Okay? Ignores total capacity to import. Here, this concept is related to export based capacity to import. एक कंसेप्ट किसके ऊपर रिलेटेड है? एक्सपोर्ट बेस्ड कैपेसिटी टू इंपोर्ट. जितना एक्सपोर्ट उसके ऊपर, उसके बेसिस पे इंपोर्ट कैपेसिटी टू इंपोर्ट. दैट इज कंट्री कैन इंपोर्ट इक्विवेलेंट टू इट्स एक्सपोर्ट. ओके, बट इग्नोर्स द टोटल कैपेसिटी टू इंपोर्ट. ये कंसेप्ट इग्नोर किया है. दिस कंसेप्ट हैव इग्नोर द टोटल कैपेसिटी टू इंपोर्ट ऑफ ए कंट्री which includes its foreign exchange receipts. Okay, तो यहाँ पे इग्नोर किया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, if the income term of trade index of a country have deteriorated, यानी गंदा हो गया. if the income of a country have deteriorated, but actually its receipts from foreign exchange have increased. Again, I will tell, but actually its receipts from foreign exchange have increased, then it can be said that its capacity to import has increased and not deteriorated. तो इन्होंने क्या बोला? अगर फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिसिप्ट इंक्रीज हुआ है तो ये कहा गया है कि इंपोर्ट की कैपेसिटी बढ़ गई है, नॉट डिटेरियोरेटेड, खराब नहीं हुई है. तो इग्नोर्स टोटल कैपेसिटी टू इंपोर्ट. यहाँ पे सिंगल फैक्टोरियल टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड. द कंसेप्ट ऑफ कमोडिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड डज नॉट टेक इनटू अकाउंट द प्रोडक्टिविटी चेंजेस इन एक्सपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री. सी, दिस कंसेप्ट इज ऑफ commodity in terms of trade does not take into account the productivity changes in export industry. And Professor Winner has developed the concept of single factorial terms of trade, which allows changes in domestic export sector. He has developed the concept of single factorial terms, yani Professor Winner, which allows changes in domestic export sector. So it is calculated by multiplying the commodity terms of trade index by an index of productivity changes. सी यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई किया है, कमोडिटी और प्रोडक्टिविटी चेंजेस को मल्टीप्लाई किया है। इन डोमेस्टिक एक्सपोर्ट में क्या मल्टीप्लाई किया है, कैलकुलेट किया है, कमोडिटी और प्रोडक्टिविटी चेंजेस को। डोमेस्टिक एक्सपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री में इट कैन बी एक्सप्रेस एज टीएस, यानी टीएस इज सिंगल फैक्टोरियल टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड। सेकेंड इज टीसी, commodity terms of trade. FX, the productivity index of export industry. Okay, so here we will see the formula here. TS is equal to TC, FX is equal to PX, FX divided by PM. So it shows that a country's factorial terms of trade improve as productivity improves. So country's factorial terms of trade improve हुआ है तो productivity भी improve है in its export industries. Okay? If the productivity of a country's export industry increases, its factorial terms of trade may improve, even though its commodity term of trade may deteriorate. यहाँ पे क्या बोला है, अगर प्रोडक्टिविटी कंट्री का एक्सपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री इंक्रीज हो गई है, इट्स फैक्टोरियल टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड में इम्प्रूव। यहाँ पे फैक्टोरियल टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड यानी फैक्टर्स मैंने बोला लैंड, लेबर, कैपिटल, ये इम्प्रूव हुआ है इवन दो इट्स कमोडिटी में डिटीरियोरेट। अगर कमोडिटी बिगड़ भी गई है, अगर कमोडिटी टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड में भी बिगड़ गई है बट वो इंक्रीज हुआ है, प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज हुआ है। एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं यहाँ पे, द प्राइजेस ऑफ इट्स एक्सपोर्ट्स में फॉल रिलेटिवली टू इट्स इम्पोर्ट प्राइजेस। ओके, एज ए रिजल्ट इंक्रीज ऑफ प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री ऑफ ए कंट्री। अगेन आई विल रीड हियर, द प्राइजेस ऑफ इट्स एक्सपोर्ट में फॉल रिलेटिवली टू इट्स इम्पोर्ट प्राइजेस as a result of increase in the productivity of export industry of a country. The commodity terms of trade will deteriorate, but its factorial terms of trade will show an improvement. Okay. So some limitations here they are. See, critics have shown their criticism here. The index is not free from limitation. Some of them have been shared below. It is difficult to obtain the necessary data to compute a productivity index. Again, I will repeat here. It is very difficult to obtain the necessary data. For what? To compute a productivity index. Second is, the single factorial terms of trade do not take into account the potential domestic cost of production. They have not taken into account the potential domestic cost of production of import industry in other country. See, they have not taken account into potential domestic cost of production of import in other country. See, to overcome these weaknesses, Wiener formulated the double factorial terms of trade. सभी ये weaknesses दिखाया है तो विनर ने डबल फैक्टोरियल टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड इंट्रोड्यूस किया. What is that double factorial terms of trade? The double factorial terms of trade takes into account productivity changes both in the domestic export sector and foreign export sector. यहाँ पे double factorial terms of trade takes into account what? Domestic export sector and foreign export sector, both they have taken into account the productivity changes producing the country's import. The index measures the double factorial terms of trade can be expressed as TD is equal to TC. TD is double factor. TC is commodity terms of trade. FX export productivity index. FM import productivity index is equal to PX commodity terms of trade, price of commodity terms of trade divided by export productivity index. Okay, FX export productivity index and import productivity index. Okay, so TD is equal to TC, Fx divided by Fm is equal to Px divided by Fm, Fx divided by Fm. So it helps in measuring the change in the rate of exchange of a country. So what it is measuring? The changes in the rate of exchange of a country as a result of the change in the productive efficiency of domestic factor. Domestic factors manufacturing exports and that of a foreign factor manufacturing imports for that country. Again I will read here. It helps in measuring the changes in the rate of exchange of a country. Rate of exchange of a country as a result of the change in the productive efficiency of domestic factors manufacturing exports and that of foreign factors manufacturing imports for that country. Okay, a rise in the index of double factorial terms of trade of a country means a rise in index. इंडेक्स मैंने बोला था पहले पिछली वीडियो में. What do you mean by index? बहुत सारी commodity. A rise in the index of double factorial terms of trade of a country means that the productive efficiency of factors, productive efficiency of factors producing export has increased. Index बढ़ गया है तो productive export increase हो गया है. Producing export has increased relatively in relation to the factors producing import in other country. In relation to the factors producing imports in other country. Okay? अभी क्रिटिसिज्म यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं? Critics, not possible to construct a double factorial terms of trade index. Not possible to construct a double factorial terms of trade index. Though in theory, the index explains the gains from trade, in practice, it is not possible to calculate an index of double factorial terms of trade of a country. Okay? See, this index explains the gain from trade, but it is not possible to calculate the index of a double factorial terms of trade of a country. It is very difficult to construct a double factorial terms of trade of index of a country as it involves, what does it involve? Measuring and comparing productivity changes in the import industry of the other country with the domestic export industry. See, there is a measuring and comparing productivity changes import industry की और export industry. Import industry foreign country की और export country domestic country की. So it is very difficult to calculate, measure, compare. So not possible to construct a double factorial terms of trade index. Okay. So next point here is required quantity of productive factors not important. Moreover, what is more important is the quantity of commodities imported with a given quantity of export. See, what is more important here is the quantity of commodities imported with a given quantity of exports rather than the quantity of productive factors required in a foreign country to produce its imports. Again, I will read here. The required quantity of productive factors not important. कितने quantity का है product, that is not required. What is more important is the quantity of commodities imported with the given quantity of exports rather than the quantity of productive factors required in a foreign country to produce its imports. Okay. The next point here is no difference between the double factorial terms of trade and the commodity terms of trade. There is no difference between double factorial terms of trade and the commodity terms of trade. Here, if there are constant return to scale, I have told you what is what do you mean by return to scale? यानी अगर आपका 100% इनपुट है तो आउटपुट भी आपका 100% होना चाहिए. ओके, so if the input is 100 and output is 40, 50, then the terms of trade is deteriorated. So return to scale, that is the meaning. See, if there are constant return to scale in manufacturing with no transport cost involved, again I will read here. If there are constant return to scale in manufacturing with no transport cost involved, then there is no difference between double factorial terms of trade and the commodity terms of trade of a country. Okay, so there is no difference between the double factorial terms of trade and the commodity terms of trade of a country. See, third critics, they told. Fourth here is single factorial terms of trade is more relevant concept. See, according to Kindleberger, the single factorial term of trade is much more relevant concept than the double factorial. Again, I will read here. Single factorial term of trade is more relevant concept. According to Kindleberger, the single factorial term of trade is a much more relevant concept than the double factorial. We are interested in what our factors can earn in goods, not what services can command in service of foreign factors. Here, what it is been told, single factorial term of trade is much more relevant concept than the double factorial. यहाँ पे बोला है single factorial term इससे ज़्यादा अच्छा है double factorial term. ये relevant है, single factorial term relevant है, ना कि double factorial. Here we are interested in what our factor can earn in goods. Land, labor, capital, these are factors what we are interested in what our factor can earn in goods, not what factor service can command in the services of foreign factor. Okay, related to productivity abroad, moreover, is the question of the quality of the goods imported. Again, I will read here. Related to productivity abroad, moreover, is a question of the quality of the goods imported. This shows that a single factorial index is more relevant than the double factorial index. So, single factorial terms of trade is most relevant concept. They have told here the interest is what our factor can earn in the goods and not what factor services can command in the services of the foreign factor. Related to the productivity abroad, moreover, is a question of the quality of the goods imported. So, the single factorial index is more relevant than the double factorial index. Okay. So, we have completed here the income terms of trade, single factorial terms of trade, double factorial terms of trade, and next video we will be taking about what are the factors affecting terms of trade, causes of unfavorable terms of trade of developing countries. So, we had discussed about the meaning and importance terms of trade, types of terms of trade. In these types of terms of trade, net barter terms of trade, gross barter terms of trade, income terms of trade we had completed, and after that interchanges that took place in relation to this above commodities. There was following productive resources, the terms of trade that relate to interchange between the productive resources, we have taken about the single factorial term of trade and double factorial term of trade. Okay. So today we will complete this video, and next video we will take about factors affecting term of trade and causes of unfavorable term of trade for developing countries. Okay. So I request all the students to take Deepa Dani and Shaila Dia's semester 5 book and see this video. So you will completely know what is the meaning, and I have read single word of this book. So you can by heart this and you can write in these exams. I request all the students to write the symbols in the exams, so you will get a good marks. I will complete this video and end this video and see you in the next video.